What's going on, guys? This is Frank Hatzis, and you're in Rope Dart School. This dartist is originally from Arkansas and has been thriving in San Diego since 2009. We first met in LA, where he drove from San Diego to LA to take a workshop with Sarah and I. Since then, you've seen him everywhere. He also hosts rope dart meetups, and all rope dart meetup every Tuesday night at Balboa Park in San Diego. He teaches at, or has taught, and is continuing to teach at prestigious fire arts events such as kinetic, fire drums, and dart arts. He's also the newest Rope Dart Academy instructor to come on board, which is a deliberately difficult thing to achieve. And we're so proud and happy about it. It's awesome. And to see how much the community is happy and responded was just the icing on the cake. He is easily one of the most likable guys you will ever meet in your life. He's laughing and blushing right now. He knows it's true. Anybody that's ever met him knows everything I said is absolutely true. He is truly on fire. Friends, the one and only Rudolph Beaton.
Yeah, Frank, you succeeded. Yes, I am blushing. Thank you for the effusive kind words. I'm honored to join the incredible list of RDA instructors and honored to be here to talk with you.
Well, I'm honored to talk to you as well because every time we do talk, whether on the phone or in person, it's always a great conversation. So this to me was a no-brainer for Rope Dart School.
I'm excited. I actually didn't know that this project was in the works. So when you brought it up, I was just like, oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. And I'm also excited about like I presume that there are other conversations happening on other episodes, and the fact that you're building yet another amazing rope dart resource. I'm not surprised, but I am very excited.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. And you hit the nail on the head because the reason that I'm doing this is part of a greater mission where other up and coming rope dartists, folks that really just love the rope dart, and we see them and they might not know where to go, what to do, whatever it is, or might not know who's in their city or in their neighborhood or who's a town over. And to be able to start connecting not only rope dartists that are starting out with rope dartists that have been around the block, so to speak, but also guys like you've been around, man. Like you have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of experience. You can help those that want to. There's folks out there that want to live that Rudolph rope dart life. I guarantee you that. So why not have the person who's currently living that life share, and that it extends obviously beyond you. So many. I want to talk to every rope artist and just expand. And I'm talking way too much because we need to be talking about you, but you hit the nail on the head. I want rope dartists out there to hear from dartists like you, and there are a lot on deck, and we're gonna have a lot of fun this season. I'm telling you that much. Starting, yeah, starting from the beginning. First question I ask everyone is what, or maybe who, got you into rope dart?
Oh, that's a great question. I wish I remembered this gentleman's last name, but I'll start from the beginning. It was 2018 at Burning Man, and I had been admiring fire spinners in general for quite a while, but frankly was a little intimidated. You know, they're always like all in black and they're focused on what they're doing, and the music's kind of intense. And anyone who knows me is that I'm like a pretty like bubbly, colorful person. And so I was like, yeah, exactly right. Like I'm like decked out in color as we talk. Um, and so I was like, maybe it's not my scene. But then in 2018, I was like, you know what? If I think they're so dang cool and admire it so much, then why don't I just go do it too? Um, and rope dart, I didn't even know what it was called at the moment, but it stuck out to me. It's takes up a lot of space. It's big movements. The martial aspect to it really appealed to me, and I was like, that's the thing I want to learn. And then my friend, who's actually one of my current roommates, she's not home right now. I was like, one of my friends does this. Um, and it was this gentleman. I wish I knew his last name. A gentleman named Ira, I believe his name was. Gosh, if I'm getting that wrong, I will issue a correction and public apology. But we went over to his camp, and he just like let me like play around with the dart, and like he showed me a couple of like first tricks, like I think like a thigh spin, was like all we got down, and I was hooked, and I actually I might still have these papers somewhere, but I was like tell me the information. What do I need? And I had like a pencil and a piece of paper, and I wrote down Rope Dart Academy, and I wrote down Dark Monk. That's like the pieces of information he gave me. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna explore this. And then, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I spent the burn learning it, and actually someone at my camp did a little bit of dart, so I would practice with his dart over the course of the burn. And then one of my friends in LA, she hit me up the week after Burning Man and was like, I uh, found out about this workshop thing, and it seems like something you'd be interested in. And it was a link to yours and Sarah's workshop. And I was like, holy crap, let's go. And so it was just that perfect time of like, I'm wanting to learn this thing. And then all of a sudden, like, the people who run the Rope Dart Academy, which I have scrawled on a dusty piece of paper, are showing up in LA. I was like, I gotta go.
Oh, beautiful. So the friend that let you borrow his rope dart, do you know who was he?
Yeah, so his burner name is Pancakes or Pancake.
Perfect.
Um I think Andrew is his name. It's been a minute. Um and it was like one of several props that he spun, and so like kind of like the same story of like he taught me like a thigh spin and maybe like a knee shot. I just remember doing the same like three moves in front of Pink Heart where I was camped at the time until I got blisters on my fingers pretty much right away. He had a silk dart. But it's like when you first start rock climbing. That's always the analogy I use. It's like, yo, like you can put gloves on, you could put some athletic tape on, but like really you just have to get blisters once or twice, and then you'll get calluses and you'll be fine. Yeah.
For sure. I make it or my analogy is playing the guitar. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, look, when you learn how to play the guitar, you're going to get calloused fingers. And if you put tape over it or a glove, you're not going to be able to play the guitar. Like, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
just kind
Mm-hmm.
of suck it up a little bit, just saying.
Exactly.
Like,
Just
it's okay. It doesn't
exactly.
last it's quick, it doesn't last forever, and you'll be so happy you did it.
Yeah. Like 1 month at most, and it's like maybe two blisters. You get it, it
Yeah.
heals. You get another one, you're callous. You're good.
It's a rite of passage. It's like, just come
Mm-hmm.
on, just do it. But it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. It passes.
Yeah, for sure. So, what led you from Arkansas to San Diego? Yeah, because that's quite a leap. So, what happened there?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to blame fate on this one. It's like San Diego was not like, oh, that's where I want to live, or even California. Like I was like, oh, California's cool, and I definitely had a desire to travel and like see the world outside of Arkansas. Um, but um, I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, and um, the uh, a nonprofit organization came to my school and gave a presentation, and there was a chance to like get involved, and so I was graduating that year, and so like I applied to basically intern at this organization, and they're based out of San Diego, and I got the internship, so I ended up moving out to San Diego, and again never planned on living here, but one thing led to another, and I eventually became employed by the organization, and they asked me to move out here full time, and it's really hard to leave. It's like incredibly pleasant. I'm sitting here in March. I don't know if the folks listening will be able to see, but like I've got the door behind me open. I've got a window open. There's a lovely breeze coming through, and it's like this 90% of the year. So it's pretty silly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely envious of the San Diego weather and lifestyle for sure. I think I would fit in like peas in a pod in San Diego personally, but you know,
If you
one
ever
day.
decide to move out here, maybe get a summer home, we'd love to have you.
Oh, I'd absolutely love to be there. So, a big thing that you are doing is the rope dart meetups that you
Mhm.
have at Balboa Park every Tuesday night. Obviously, I'm not going to, why would you start doing that? Well, it's to start spreading the rope dart. But are there any kind of advice you can give someone that's, maybe back in Arkansas and is like, yeah, I'd love to have a rope dart meetup. What can you talk about? What's going on there? How are you able to create such magic with everything? There's something going at play here that I think folks would benefit to hear about.
Yeah, the biggest thing is consistency. Um, like just set a time and a place and be consistent. Um, and if no one shows up, reframe that like, cool, you get some solo practice. I mean, truth be told, like I spend so much time teaching at the jams that I don't really consider it a place where I grow my own personal practice. I grow my skill in teaching, but I'm actually not like growing my own individual dart skill that much. And so in the rare case that no one shows up, that pretty much never happens at this point. Um, but like that's a great chance for me to get some solo time in. So like don't get discouraged, especially in the early days if no one shows up or one or two people show up. Just be consistent. Have some sort of central communication. So we use Facebook and Instagram messaging channels, and it's just like a group chat. You could also use like a Facebook group, but just have like a central place for people to communicate.
That is such easy to understand, great advice for anyone listening that is interested in getting a meetup started. Be
Yep,
consistent and also have a consistent channel for to communicate through.
exactly. That's the secret. That's all we do.
Very nice. With regard to teaching, you've been quite a few places in the past few years teaching your butt off, spreading that rope dart love and knowledge. I know kinetic and fire drums are on the top of that list for, definitely high end. When I go to an FAI, which is a Flow Arts Institute festival, my expectation is that the instructors are going to be top notch. And that's generally what you find. And, that's why folks like Rudolph and also Cassidy are teaching at these events. Now, other than kinetic and fire drums and dart arts, and believe me, we're going to talk a lot about dart arts. Any other places that you'll be teaching at coming up, things of that nature? Where can folks, if they're not in San Diego but are willing to travel for that kind of event, where you're going to be?
Well, I can tell you some places that I aim to teach at future years. I'm actually going to be this week finishing up my application to Kindle, which is up in the Pacific Northwest. I believe it's outside of somewhere in Washington, I
I
believe.
think it's in Oregon,
Oregon, Oregon. There you go.
unless
Thank you.
unless they change the
No, no,
venue.
I think you're correct. I've heard amazing things about Kendall. It is challenging to get to if you go to Burning Man because it's the week after Burning Man. That's the only reason I haven't been. But truly, I've just heard so many lovely things about that event. I also intend to teach at Flame first chance I get. I'm really kicking myself, and this is a reminder for anyone who wants to teach to put reminders in your calendar when applications are due. I was a bad Rudolph this past year, and I turned in my Flame application a week late. And they were understanding, but I won't be teaching at Flame, and I pretty much blame myself for getting in a late application. So other place I'm teaching this year, it's kind of a light year for me, would be Dart Arts, which we're going to get into. I decided not to apply to Kinetic this year. Mainly, we won't get too much into my personal life where we can. I'm in a time of transition. I am currently unemployed and was at a job for 10 years, which I loved. But being unemployed currently, I'm dialing back my travel a little bit. So for now, the short answer is you can find me at Dart Arts and you can find me at the Rope Dart Jam in San Diego and maybe at Kindle. We'll see. But 2026, assuming that I have a job, I'm planning to spread those applications far and wide and come back with a force. You mentioned Cassidy earlier, and he is like very much inspiring me. I'm watching him do like the tour to like Dart Festival right now, and like that's something want to emulate in 2026.
Absolutely, and you can. So you see where you made a mistake, and you're going to obviously correct for that, and you have other things going on. And just so you know, when it comes to personal life and rope dart school, you can get as personal as you want. I won't pry into anything, but you could certainly volunteer whatever information you like.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, please go ahead.
That was pretty much it. I said, we'll get into dart arts, and you just said, we'll get into dart arts. So why don't we get into dart
Let's
arts?
do it.
Definitely. So this will be your returning now third year teaching. And for anyone who's on the fence of going, again, you have instructors that um, they've traveled. Rudolph isn't brand new to teaching. He's not going to get up there and go, the thing, your right foot. That's not what you're going to get. You're going to get high level instruction, and that's going to be across the board from everyone. So, do you have any ideas? And we still have to talk about it, but just to maybe give a little titillating information. What are you thinking of teaching at Dart Arts this year?
Great question. So I think like most Dart teachers, I've got a roster of classes that are kind of like my go-tos, and there's some that I'm more comfortable teaching than others. Um, I'm planning on bringing back a class that kind of got um, it got kind of its first chance at Dart Arts, actually the first Dart Arts 2 years ago, and that was the Darting with Power class. Anyone who's familiar with my style is I tend to bring a certain amount of like force and power to my flow, especially when I'm really feeling it. Uh,
Can confirm.
and it's a joy, but there's also like specific technique to bring that power. And the thing that I struggled with the first time I taught the class is that I kind of ran out of content. I like have boiled it down to about 30 minutes of like basically where power comes from and demonstrating that in different ways. And then I was like, gosh, I don't know what to do. And then actually a fellow Dartist, Bensei and I were talking about like that struggle. And one thing he does that I admire is that he does a lot of like gamification in his classes of like, okay, like let's now like apply this. And so I've come up with a series of power focused games. So the first half of the class will be learning where power comes from. And then the second half will be a series of like games that involve power. Um, and so yeah, that's one of the classes I'll be bringing. Hopefully, we'll talk. We'll talk.
For sure. And you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the gamification of rope darting classes. And you also hit the nail on the head with regard to instructor Bensei being like the guy to emulate. Because let me tell you something, I never thought about that before until I did a workshop with Ben in Ohio about 2 years ago. And it kind of happened spontaneously. But after we went over all of the technical aspects of rope dart, he set up games for everybody that lasted for hours, as long as the original workshops were lasting. And I looked at this and I was like, this is genius. It should always be like this. So, we have a lot of games at Dart Arts anyway, like the Jugger game and whatnot. But to add different, it's skill acquisition, but you're making it fun. To add these games to classes, I'm saying I wish other instructors did it more as an instructor that needs to start doing that more.
Yeah, it's something I had never considered. And like I had thought like, oh, like well, if this class just doesn't have an hour's worth of content, maybe it's not worth teaching. And then like I think that was incorrect. And I was like, no, there's other ways like we can like dive into the concept rather than me just explaining it. Like let's explore it. Let's yeah, like bring games to it. And I just it was just something I hadn't considered until that conversation with Bensei.
Yeah, I mean, another reason for rope dart school again is that and dart arts really for again, guys, anybody that wants to get great at rope dart, wants to start connecting with dart arts, we're all at dart arts. Like that's where it's happening. So connect with the community, and you can then bring every I'm trying to find the words. It's like once you connect with the community, you bringing your own flair, flavor, taste, style, value into the overall rope dart stream of life becomes much, much easier because there's this sharing of knowledge and information with folks who are networking with others all over the world. It sounds redundant, but like if I could jam it in your head, I don't know what else. So,
Yeah.
and another aspect to what you're doing with rope dart and something that happens at dart arts are dart battles. I know you
Hmm.
guys do them quite often. You play that quite often in San Diego. I struggle with dart battles because I'm always like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then I do it, and it's the funnest freaking thing you could do with a rope dart.
It's the dart battles are and let me give credit where credit's due first before I even dive into it. Uh, the creation of them, as far as my understanding of the lore goes, were created by an incredible artist named Xander up in Portland.
That's true. That is 100% true.
Frank's nodding, and also as far as the driving force behind San Diego dart battles, got to give a shout out to Calum, who's a wonderful dartist down here, and has like been a lot of the energy behind popularizing them or like making them happen. He'll bring them to the dart jams, which he is one of the several admins at this point that helped me host the dart jams. It's now become a team effort. Um, oh yeah, no, I've like this is a small tangent. Like I've got five different, including myself, five different admins, and I will now like I'm actually gonna do this after this call. Right before each month starts, I like post all the Tuesdays and be like, okay, admins, which dates do y'all want to grab? Um, and actually, I'm just gonna keep tangenting here for a second.
Do
Um,
it.
we had a rare but occasional thing that happens with the rope dart jam is this Tuesday actually. We didn't have an admin. No one was available. So there was no host that day. And so I posted in our threads and I was like, "Hey team, like Dart Jam is on like same time, same place. However, there's no host today. But a host is not required. As long as one person shows up and is rope darting, the jam is on. And to my delight, three attendees showed up and did the dart jam like without anyone there to host it. And that's what like that's the goal is for it to like be bigger. Like if I moved away from San Diego, there would still be like enough like cultural force um to continue that. But I just wanted to like put that out there about the jams, like build a team. And I could go like I don't know if I can pause if you have a question, but I could also go back to um what we were just talking about with rope dart battles.
Uh, I I have so many questions. The one thing I just wanted to say and point out
Mm.
is, you used a term I never heard before or a phrase, and that was cultural force. And that is something I'm going to think about for a while. And I encourage anyone, I don't care if you spend poi or staff or whatever, that's a really fascinating thing that just got my head to click a little bit. Cultural force. Uh, yeah, I mean, I enjoy hearing about what you're speaking of with regard to the organizational side of rope dart because
Mhm.
that's where I think most dartists listening can benefit from this conversation that we're having is seeing how it's organized, that it gets to a point where Rudolph or another co-host isn't available, but it's still on anyway, which circles it back to what you said earlier, that it's always practice anyway. It's always practice. And if your ultimate goal is to get good at rope dart, it honestly shouldn't matter if anybody's there anyway.
Exactly. Like you're out there practicing, and all you've done is invited other people to join you, and maybe bring a Bluetooth speaker. People like music.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, guys, that's a big one. Always have music. No, it is. I mean, we always have music, even when we do workshops or classes or anything. Always have music. It fills that empty space, like the empty noise, really well, and it keeps everybody motivated.
Hmm.
But you could speak more about that. But if you wanted to circle back to dark battles, I'm here for it, brother.
Absolutely, yeah. So high level, like founded by Xander up in Portland, down in San Diego, really like popularized and driven by Calum. And I have worked with Frank on bringing Dart battles to Burning Man, to Dart Arts. Um, Caleb and I have, Caleb taking the lead again, hosted it at Fire Drums. And so I've often been involved in running it, and it is it's so interesting because we're trying to create a sport, um, and the sport, has a lot of combat application, but it's a really tricky thing to like create a sport that is like balanced and enjoyable. Because like, for example, like we've one of the rules is that you're not allowed to just like cast the dart at your opponent to hit them. You have to do a shot. Um, and that rule worked wonderfully for about 2 years, and that's still the rule. But now we're starting to get into the minutia of what is a shot. Um, there are actually, I'll mention Bensei here. He doesn't know this yet because I haven't talked to him about it. Um, but he developed an incredibly deadly shot that he used to incredible effect, and I think he ultimately won the dart battles last year. And it would essentially this and there are multiple levels, to be fair, so several people won. Um, but this shot it's an upward spin, and he does a little redirect with his lead elbow, and then shoots it out. So like if you imagine your standard forward elbow shot, it's like a full rotation and then like a punch forward with your lead arm. This is like instead of a full rotation of the dart, it's like
Yeah.
an 18th. It's like
Wow.
it's like a cast that gets popped up, but it's like technically a shot under our current definitions because he's like interrupting the leash with his arm. So it's like, but it's faster than all the other shots. So it's like this optimal thing. And so this is something that's just been like bouncing around in my head that like the shot that he's created, because I think it is a shot under our current definition, is like the fastest, deadliest thing. And like I play a lot of games, so I'm like, okay, if there is an optimal strategy, then like you do the optimal strategy. However, if like the game becomes less interesting to play and to watch if there's only one shot that everyone does. And so like I'm just kind of like I don't think I'm going to change any rules or anything. And of course, I would need to talk to a lot of people to do that. But I'm curious because I think Bensei's created a move that is better than most other moves. And so I'm curious to see like, is that going to grow? Is there other things out there? Because with sports, you don't want to over make the rules. Less is more. But if there was like let's take baseball for example. If there was one pitch that was the best pitch and no other pitches mattered, like that becomes less interesting to watch. It's that choice, that variety, which makes it interesting to watch and to play to like see how one strategy counters another. What I'm going to be hoping to see at Dart Arts this year is like what else is out there. Bensei showed up with this incredible like quick technique. Maybe there's other versions that exist.
I love that. And I love your analogy on baseball. I never thought of it like that. And, if, just to drop my opinion on it, I like that there's something now like the technique to be beaten.
Hmm.
And it's, more of, I already started thinking about it's okay, like how do you beat this impossibly? I know exactly the technique you're talking about.
Hmm.
How do you beat this impossible technique? It's like, well, maybe you have to stall and get him to fire. It's kind of like
Hmm. Hmm.
what was that? I never saw the movie, but I know the line or the thing in Top Gun where, I'm not a fan of Tom Cruise at all, but he's apparently just to put that out to everybody. Uh, he's being tailed by somebody, and everybody's saying speed up, speed up, speed up, and he's like, no, I'm going to stop, and they're just going to fly right past me, and that's what he does, and that ends up being the thing. So
Hmm.
maybe it's that kind of a situation, and our own understanding of the rope dart and its application to dart battles will only grow at this point, trying to beat this impossible instructor Bensei shot. That gets me fired up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I want to see what people come up with. And then sure, like if we flash forward 4 years and everyone's doing the same shot over and over again, maybe we'll come up with something. But let's not overrulify it. Let's see what people come up with and see this is my challenge to all the dartists listening. Come up with a stronger technique. Let's see someone topple Bensei. You heard it here first, Ben.
Oh my God, dropping challenges. I absolutely love it. So, you mentioned Burning Man, where we did host. That was the first ever dart battles. And I just want to point out that it was wildly successful despite, and this is my fault, us playing it almost completely incorrectly. And so, dart battles, the entire ring that you're in, I believe, is 12 feet. You get 6 feet aside deep to be able to move. And when we were at Burning Man setting it up, that's what Rudolph told me, because that's how Xander set it up and that's how they've been playing it. And me, I looked at it and I was like, "There's how do you play dart battles like this is?" And I was like, "Nope, nope, no, we're scratching." And we made it bigger, this, that, and the other thing, and it led to some really intense battles because they were lasting forever, not forever, but they were lasting so long because there was so much room. You could be standing in a corner. We had to make a rule on the fly, I think, that if you just stood in a corner for like 5 seconds, you're going to get a point deducted. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But a fun time was had by all after all was said and done. And Burning Man org did catch and watch some of dart battles, and they took the time to let us know in a report they give you at the end of a Burning Man event, things I guess they liked and didn't like, your score or whatever it is. And they personally said they liked the dart battles, although they wrote dart jousting, which does, yeah, it certainly describes the event, but it's not exactly as sexy as dart battles.
I didn't know that they saw that. That's awesome. And now, like, okay, when you said dart jousting, I imagined like one dartist carrying another dartist, and the dartist on top is like trying to do shots, and then like a
We
I,
have to do this. Or
yes.
listen, if we do it at Burning Man, just get two bikes and a side street, and let's
Yeah, casts are allowed if you're riding a bike. Then
absolutely, yeah, yeah, for sure,
oh, that's great.
yeah. Are you planning on going to the Burn this year?
Um, Probably. Personal life just informs a lot of these decisions. And I'm actually have the final round of an interview with a new company, actually later today in like 2 hours. I've got my like here. I'll just reach. I'm gonna change from my hippie garb to my button-up garb.
Nice.
Um, and a lot will be determined whether or not I am have a job. If I don't have a job, I will definitely be there because uh, my camp, um, in exchange for like a certain amount of like commitment of time, will pay for my ticket, which is fantastic.
Nice.
Um, if I do get the job, I will probably still be there, but that's just a whole thing to navigate with like that future opportunity. Make sure that they're cool with that.
For sure. Again, just I like to let daughters know where to find you, kind of a
Hmm.
thing, without certainly we wouldn't give your address out or anything. Um,
Hit me
but
up. I'm an open book, and like we'll find time in San Diego whenever y'all are down here. I guess a question for you, Frank. I don't know if this is podcast worthy, but are you going to the burn?
oh yeah,
Heck yeah.
yeah. I'm in. my conclave this year, they actually have me doing the hoop. So I've been learning the fire hoop. Yeah. So
Let's go. All right, all right.
yeah. It's let me tell you something. If there was ever a prop that mirrors the rope dart, it's the hoop. It's
Really?
oh yeah, absolutely. It's so similar. The planes, the rotation, the spin, all of it. You know, when you look at an out like a smash shot, you're really just doing like an ISO pop. I was talking to Adam Bush the other day, as a matter of fact, not to
Yeah.
give anything away, but we were also talking about the similar. He actually taught a class called rope dart for hoopers because the transition from hoop to rope dart is so easy. And as I'm finding, the transition from rope dart back to hoop is equally as simple.
I love that. I had no idea that Adam was teaching that class, and that's an incredibly cool concept. I had never considered that. I've never hooped, so I didn't know that. That's super cool.
Yeah, well, once conclave is over, I mean, I rope dart all the time anyway, but I probably, I've done different fire props over the years for conclave, double stabs, fans, and honestly, like once the Burning Man season is over, I really don't really pick them up again. I'm just back to rope dart. I love learning the other things. It's fun sometimes at festivals. I'll do a fan set or double stabs just for fun, but I'm still learning rope dart. I'm still really only interested in rope dart. I still just want to love and appreciate rope dart, so
Rope dart's infinite. That's just what I say. Like it's
yeah,
I can't I don't know the other props well, but it just seems like the well of knowledge that I'm able to explore just goes infinitely in all directions to the point where it's like overwhelming. And I just have to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to worry about groundwork. I'm going to worry about, I'm just going to focus on Overlord tech and see what I can learn there. And that actually, like, um, this is actually a thing for Dartists that feel like they may be hitting a plateau, because that's something like if you dedicate yourself to any craft, there's going to be like that initial like, ooh, lots of dopamine. I'm learning things every day, and shocker with everything that's going to taper as you learn more and more, that dopamine feedback is going to become less and less. And one of my tricks that I have for handling that drop in dopamine um, is giving myself like that's usually if I'm feeling bored with Dart, that means I need to try something new. And then the way that I try something new is I will just pick a single technique, and you take that single technique, and there's probably a few things that you always do when you're just flowing, and the goal is to take that technique and find something new there. And I guarantee, like within 30 minutes you will find something. So oftentimes I'll be like, okay, Overlord, what can I find here? And like I have like one of my more bonkers tech is the like uh Overlord barrel roll smash shot. And like I don't do it often because it's a little out of control even still. Um, but that is something I found from just being like, okay, I'm going to explore this tech until I find something new.
definitely. And that's great that you said that about how you explore tech because Sarah and I do the exact same thing.
Hmm.
Sometimes we'll go out and we'll say, you know, pick a rap, or, dragon rap, done. Find something new, whatever it is, just start playing around with it. You got to start with the dragon rap and you're going to find something new. I got to be honest, you dropped so many knowledge bombs in this past hour ish that I, I'm so thrilled for anyone that watches this and actually um, takes to action a lot of the things, all of the things that you're saying. It almost, I have a question I wanted to ask you before we leave, and it almost seems silly because of how much you just shared and all of again, there's knowledge and wisdom coming here, not from someone who knows about the rope dart, but from someone who knows the rope dart through trial, error, experience, and the biggest one, I say it all the time, traveling, getting out there and meeting other dartists, teaching other dartists is fantastic. So the silly question I want to ask, because you pretty much already answered it, but if you wanted to leave rope dartists with one message, what would that message be?
Ooh, one message. That is an excellent question. Pause to think for a second. Okay, I've got it. I would say follow the fun. Um, and this is true for any skill. Like you're going to go through ups and downs. And so what I mean by follow the fun is um, I kind of have one of three paths that I decide to take every time I pick up the dart. Either I'm just going to be, getting some rust off. So that's kind of like I'm popping on some music and I'm going through some flow, not worried about what I'm doing. I'm just moving and expressing. That's path one. Path two is the one we just talked about of like, I'm going to learn something new. So I'll like pick a tech and explore it. And like my goal for that hour is like, I want to come up with something brand new. And that's like very creative and exploratory. And the number three is like optimization or like drilling or discipline. That's like, I've got something new that I'm working on and I want to get really good at it. So I'm going to drill this. And I've found that like if I'm feeling like dissatisfied or like bored is kind of an awful word to use, but like if like just not feeling that motivation, it just means that of those three paths, i'm I need to change the path that I'm on and pick another one because one of those three is going to bring me the joy. And ultimately this should be bringing you joy. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but like follow that fun. If it's like just feeling like a grind, then shake it up. Find some other avenue that isn't so grindy.
Wow, my when you think you can't top everything you've said so far, you come out with this absolute diamond wrapped in gold and a gem in a oh my Rudolph, man. Oh my god, dude. I tell you, if there was ever a rope dart school conversation, I would just literally make everybody sit down and watch. Oh my god, this guy. Wow,
Honored, honored, brother.
amazing.
Hmm.
And the last thing I'm going to ask you is silly because what I'm going to say, what I want to ask you is if you can rope dart with anyone for one weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, who would it be? But here's why I feel silly asking you this because everybody watching this is probably saying, I want to rope dart with Rudolph, for that weekend. So my goodness, man.
Mhm.
Knowledge bombs, but my question does stand. If you could rope dart with anyone in the world, living or dead, wherever, whoever it is, for one weekend, it could only be one, who would it be? And you can explain why, what your reason for saying so, if you like.
Sure, sure. So, for the purposes of this question, I'm not going to pick anyone that I've already darted with. I've already darted with a bunch of incredible people and would love to dart with them again. But there's one dartist in particular who I love. I'm gonna tease this one out. I love his style. It's I some of the coolest tech that I picked up. I've learned from him, and like he is one of those dartists that like I saw some incredible flow come out of like high tech, high complexity, high speed. That's kind of like my holy trinity of like, could I get like high complexity, like high tech and high speed all in one? And I usually can't. I actually like anyone who knows my style. I tend towards stuff that's like moderate in complexity, but I move very quickly through it, and that's where the mastery comes through. But anywho, um, this artist, it's Jacob McCrae out of
Oh,
Australia.
heck yeah.
The
Oh,
last
what an answer. Oh, my goodness.
the last
Oh,
dartbender, the last dartbender,
the
and
last Starbender. Wow, absolutely. Oh, my goodness.
I've
Jacob
not had the chance, and he inspires me. Um, he hasn't been posting a lot lately, to my knowledge. I relate to that. I haven't posted a video since Burning Man, and like sometimes I feel guilty about that. Like engaging with social media is not always the best for my mental health, but things I miss deeply is like contributing to the community. Like I like kind of worry like, oh, like I have like all this passion I want to share and all this flow, but I don't post, so people aren't engaging with it. I have like a desire to post more, but if Jacob hears this, all I'll say is that like you do what's best for you, brother. I trust like you're following whatever's best for like like why you haven't been posting lately. Just know that it's missed. And if you ever do start posting again, I will be eating that shit up. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but I just did.
I mean, yeah, I'm from New York. We curse. I do my best not to. I get so excited. I just curse like in front of, a priest or something. And I don't, I never mean anything mean by it. It's just how we talk
It's
around.
emphasis.
I enjoy, you saying certain words to emphasize things. It's like
Hmm
if it
hmm
really, catches you in a certain way, it certainly emphasizes what you're saying. Rudolph, that was amazing. Great answer on everything. This is one of the most enlightening episodes we've ever had. They're all great, but holy cow, you know, you've fundamentally changed the way I'm even going to ask questions, I think, because I want to tease out better information like what you shared in this past hour from other dartists. Absolutely amazing. Um, we'll be talking anyway. We got Dart Arts happening, so we're definitely going to be in each other's DMs. So we
hmm
will talk soon. Um, I'm speaking for everybody. I'm so happy that you were on here. You know, what you shared is absolutely priceless.
Ah, Frank, absolute honor, brother, to be here. This has been a joy to share information. I like if it's not clear, like I really light up talking about the Dart and anyone else we can bring into this community to help us grow this thing together. Like that's my hope is that like people will listen to us and be like, you know what, I want to do this thing. Like, and whether and like to everyone who's out there, like, feel free to like find me on socials, hit me up, like whether it's like questions about Dart, questions about starting your own jam. There's a few of us that do this. I know Errol up in the Bay Area hosts regular jams as well. So like, um, yeah, reach out. And I would be delighted to like share whatever knowledge I can to help you grow Dart and grow Dart community wherever you're at.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. It was a pleasure seeing you as always. To everyone listening, we both wish you the best. Peace, love, and Dart life.
Ah, much love, much love.